Hello everyone, welcome back to Research Works podcast. We're here for the pre-conference workshops here in Melbourne. And the person that has been so instrumental in putting together the scientific program, leading a big team, I have him right here, Dr. Sebastian Schroeder. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi Dana, nice
Hello.
to see you.
Nice
Hi.
to see you. I don't think I said your surname correctly.
Sebastian, perfect.
But surname?
Schroeder.
Schroeder. Oh no, not too bad.
Very good,
Okay,
yes,
not
very
bad,
good,
not
very
bad.
good.
I thought I said it wrongly to start off with.
No, thank you.
So it's so lovely to have you here. Your role is not only clinical, which I want to go into a little bit in terms of the work that you do at the hospital, but you are the chair of the scientific committee here for the conference.
That's right.
Must be pretty incredible to finally be here.
Yes, I mean, I've been here now for 2.5 years. So, and at the same time already started working for this conference, which is now really taking place. So it's very amazing. I started here in Melbourne in January 22.
Wow.
And now everything comes together, and I'm thankful for Rainer that he engaged me into this experience. And I'm also thankful to Ross.
Yes.
Because this is already where we are, right? Setting up the system and the program for this conference was, of course, balancing different interests and getting everyone together.
Yeah.
And
it's not an easy thing to do.
Well, and Ross knows a lot, and Rainer knows a lot.
They do know a lot of people.
Getting everybody together and making it a huge conference as it is now was a lot of fun, and I really look forward now.
Oh, that's good. You can just be immersed in it and enjoy.
Yes.
The pre-conference workshop is what we're here for today, but I know that this is your hometown. This is where you are based for your work. Do you mind telling us a bit more about what it is that you do here?
Well, yeah, it's interesting. For my first 20 years in the career, I was at the University Hospital in Munich, working for pediatrics and pediatric neurology, and then there was this time to decide to stay there for the rest of my life or do something new. And this is where I met Rainer, and he was the former head of the child center in Melbourne.
Right.
And he asked me to apply, and then there were, of course, applications out to step into his footsteps. And as he retired at the end of 2022, I was his following chief medical officer or head of the hospital. And so this is where I started now in January 23 to get here.
Amazing.
And we are a quite special hospital. So it's a special center for children with developmental disability, childhood onset disabilities, a lot of social interactive problems. So it's really the mixture of what the EACD-IAACD meeting is about. The good thing is we have a in-hospital stay with 52 beds for children, and we have a large outpatient center, which are called social pediatric centers here in Germany. And this is multidisciplinary ambulances with all professionals that you need to take care of children and their developmental disabilities.
Wow.
And so it's a really challenging task to run the clinic and maybe to implement some new things and have the old ones still going on. We're building a lot, constructing, getting a new ward and getting new outpatient systems, so a lot of things going on.
Wow, that sounds very dynamic. And then you have the conference on top of that. When it comes to the conference, you've been part of the setup and organization over quite some time now. How has the organization of this conference been influenced by your experience of previous EACDs?
Well, the previous EACDs I went to, not only Bruges, but also, let's say, Ljubljana, already shaped, and also AACPDM conferences that I have been before. They shaped my understanding of these multi-professional interdisciplinary conferences. And I really always liked it a lot because it's not only the doctors, it's not only the therapists, it's not only the psychologists. They all need to get together. And this is what the EACD stands for. And in Germany, we don't have such a organization. We have medical societies, we have therapeutic societies.
Quite siloed.
So people are still sticking to their own professions. And so the biggest idea for this meeting was to open this interdisciplinarity, which we live every day during life, during work.
Of course.
We are all very close interdisciplinarily, but we don't do it on scientific level.
Sure.
Right? So the idea for this meeting was really to get this interdisciplinarity together,
yes,
including the parents, including the people with lived experience, and get this as a starting point, maybe to get something developed in Germany further on this international and multidisciplinary level.
That's wonderful. And I think we've seen that in the previous conferences. Wherever the conference has been, the idea is not just to do a conference day and move on, it is to create change in that space. So I can see how you really set that up here for Germany and within your role as medical director as well.
I mean, it's a big success already. If we look at our registration numbers, we can see that in the past, the EACD was not the place where German professions went to.
Okay.
So there were, I don't know, something in between 15 to, I don't know, maybe a little bit more participants during the EACD meetings. But for this here in Germany, we are now more than 600 German participants. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
We're almost a third of all participating visitors.
That's fantastic.
I think that could be a good start. Yeah.
Oh, that's something so to be proud of, because that's going to have a lasting effect when you think about the, the ripple effect from one person and how many people that influences and teams.
Yeah.
One of the things that I have really noticed from this conference, amongst many things, is the amount of involvement from people with lived experience. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this before. I gather that was very intentional right from the start.
Well, I think I have to give this credit also to Rainer. He's a very engaged and compassionate person, also with engaging the people with lived experience, and also with his experience from the last decades of work, traveling, being around with the EACD for many, many years, and also some responsible parts. So I think with his International Voices project, he also wanted to set this stage to get the people with lived experience, the parents, the caretakers, all together. And I think he's done an amazing job in advocating this for the conference, so that they come. And John Coughlin and all the others which are engaged now and do their international statements to try to get things together and move forward. I think that's really will be a great success after this conference.
It's very, very amazing. And then when it comes to the actual scientific content, there is a lot.
Yes.
Can you go through some of the numbers of what that looks like?
Well, first of all, maybe it's also fantastic to see that a lot of people with lived experience are engaged in the scientific conference program as well, right? And I think that's probably just a picture of the time. So everybody has talked about this for many years, that people with lived experience need to be engaged. And now I think it's just the time that we start to collect the fruits of these initiations all over. So this is, I think, becoming more and more natural. And
such a good point, because you're right. I would say, even 5 years ago, we'll be saying involving consumers. It was constantly
everybody said to do so, and now we see the results from this initiations.
That's right. And it's very authentic. Like when we talk about co-design, it's not just including someone on the panel who has lived experience. It is true integration. And just talking to some researchers really today, a lot of new ideas came about because parents went, hello, can you do something for this, please? And so you're starting to see that. And as always in science, you set something and then it has to grow, and it takes years. And then you have to evaluate, and then you can present the results on a meeting. And this is where we are. We really realize already that there are the results coming now, and it will get more. Anything else for the conference? So numbers. We have, I hope I am quite right, we have more than 2,000 participants in total. Wow.
So for
all in person or also online as well?
So this is in person, on site.
Incredible.
And online together.
Wow.
So this is a hybrid meeting, and for the pre-conferences we have 1,400 participants, which I think is huge. It's amazing.
It really is.
Then for the main conference in total, it's 1,800. So with mixing those together, we are above 2,000. But of course, most of the people come here and they do the pre-conference and the main conference, right? So you stay here for the whole week, which we never thought would happen. That so many people really take off a week to get science.
It's
content.
the value of it, right? It's by bringing a conference together, combined with the international as well. There's so much value. You know, if you think of any place to be up to date with a particular area, this would be the place to be.
That's what I would think of, yes, but I wasn't sure, or we weren't sure if everybody else sees it like that too, right? So it feels good that it obviously seems to make sense.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So these are the more than 2,000 people on site in Heidelberg. We are something like 1,680, and this is about the upper limit of the conference meeting center, the HCC. So it will be full during the keynote sessions. I think that'd be great. So this huge hall, which is wonderful, brand new, very modern, will be full. And that's also a good feeling. I'm really looking forward to that. What else is there? We have more than 1,400 presentations. So one could think, I mean, there are those two extremes, right? One could say, let's reduce the amount to the maximum to focus in detail on the scientific data so that everybody can follow. Or you can say, let's get as much as possible in, get appetizers of everything, and you'll pick what you think, and then you have to do the work at home. So looking at the program for Heidelberg, one has to say, of course, we took the let's get everything together option. And everybody who is interested in something then needs to go and work on his own. But I think that's truly, as everything, you have to be actively engaged yourself. And
absolutely.
So I think the meeting and the content for this meeting is more of picking appetizers really shortly. And then when you think this is great, I maybe go into the online program and re-look at the details afterwards, or look into the papers. So it's not that we can discuss things into details. Everybody will realize that during the next days, I think, and many probably will be a little bit sad about that. But I think to go into the depth of content, probably the pre-conferences are the best option.
I do want to talk about the pre-conference, because that's where we are right now. But for the actual conference itself, I would have to say, when I first looked at the schedule, there was a lot, but it reflects the diversity of areas, and child onset disability is not as straightforward as maybe previously thought. And there are so many different aspects to look into, so many different age groups to look into. So I think that's the reason why so many people brought together, and that in itself will foster more communication. But to be more in-depth, you've got the pre-conference workshops where we're at now. What are some of the things that you're really excited about the pre-conference workshops?
Well, just from my own interests, of course, going into early detection and early intervention is something that really interests me. So I'm really thankful for having the experts from the world around here, and making a whole day today and making another whole day tomorrow, and having other half-day symposia, and all of them will be on demand afterwards, so I can go into detail and listen to them again, because I'm running around between the 4 different locations all day already. So I haven't had chance to listen to them, but just every time I went to one of them, I heard that those are really, really good. And this is where the in-depth science is being presented. And I think as it is all recorded, it will be good, and you can look at it over and over again and think of where do you want to go from the knowledge that you have heard here. And I think
you're right. This is the place where if you want in-depth knowledge and you want to know exactly what to do in this particular area of interest to you, so you're obviously engaged. We talk about therapy, and we want our children to be engaged, and therefore it's more salient and they'll commit. It's the same with us. You know, if we've got a topic that we're really engaged about, we'll take so much more out of it. I was also really interested in, you've got the Skills Lab as well. Can you tell us a bit more about the Skills Lab?
Well, Skills Lab is something new to the EACD. And it's not new to the conferences in general. So we have had it in Germany, and probably other conferences across the world also do that. It's something which is more like a, now I'm missing the right word, like a laboratory, not really, but it's a very practical area. So it's located in the foyer of the HCC, the main conference building. And it's intended to show people or participants, young clinicians, how experts do clinical skills. So, for example, Schroeder will tell everybody who wants to how to examine the foot in a child with cerebral palsy.
Wow.
Right? So, I mean, that sounds very trivial, but everybody who knows, it's complex. Yeah? You need to know about the lower ankle, the upper ankle. You need to know about the three-dimensional deviations, the compensatory, the primary, secondary, tertiary abnormalities, right? So if you really want to understand that, to make a clinically based decision for that patient, this will be where you can ask Schroeder,
I mean,
how
where
does
else
he
will
do
you
it?
get that done?
Yeah?
That's incredible.
So the idea is to have clinicians who are clinical experts to teach young, maybe not only young, but other clinicians how they do it.
That's brilliant.
To really also make knowledge brokerage on the hands-on part, the skills, the clinical skills, which I really always love the most. Getting into contact with the patient, having hands on the patient.
It's the why.
And that's why we do this job, right?
That's right.
We really like to be interactive with the patients.
I love that.
Yeah.
You've covered a lot about the conference and the experience that so many of the conference attendees are going to have. For you personally right now, what is it that about this conference is it that you're most excited about, that you want to make sure everyone's like onto it and engaged? I mean, we might have already talked about it, but what is the thing for you?
Well, I think the one of them is the skills lab.
Okay.
Because this is what it was my idea to bring it in. So it's a little bit of my baby.
Yeah, okay.
I know it will be not more than 15, 20 people who can fit into this area of the lobby. But I would love this style to be continued during the EACD. We've done it in Germany for the Pediatric Neurology Society, and it has grown every year. And the feedback is enormous. The people, the presenters, but also the visitors really like it. Brilliant. And so this would be, of course, my highlight. Then maybe another highlight that we haven't talked about is the Action Day on Saturday, because this is where the people with lived experience and the parents, they celebrate a Olympiad, if you want to say so, which is in Neckargemünd. It's not in Heidelberg, but it's at a special school, a huge special school. And they have 20 locations within the school where the children can do tasks. And it is just like a summer game.
That's brilliant.
And the children will go there and do the different tasks. And in the end, they get a certificate, and there will be a ceremony in the end, and there will be a magic show in the end.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
So on Saturday, while we still sit in the HCC, others will have fun already outside, and they will do it on Saturday.
That's fantastic.
Until the end at 4 o'clock.
That's fantastic. And experience with so many people, and I suppose that is the point, isn't it? When we think about ultimately what we're hoping to do is improve quality of life. We want to improve participation opportunities.
Engagement.
And this is what the conference will bring and put front and center. So when we go home, doesn't end there. It continues.
So anybody who wants to, who's not fed with information and experiences at the end on Saturday,
come along.
You can take the bus immediately at 1:30, I think, in the main building, in front of the main building. Also where the buses depart for Maulbronn this morning and tomorrow morning. And they can go to Neckargemünd to the Action Day and experience it till 4 o'clock. And then there is a bus bringing everybody back to Heidelberg. If you don't leave already immediately after the end of the conference, you can have that experience as well.
I would say everyone should do that. So thank you. I mean, thank you for sharing your heart behind this conference. Thank you for doing all the extra work for getting this conference up and going. I know it takes a big team, but it takes leadership, doesn't it? And it does take sacrifice. And we're so lucky to be able to have all this content presented to us so we can take home again. So thank you.
Well, just one thing. I mean, there were some people always in the last days asking me if I'm nervous and if I'm afraid that things don't run well, or how do I feel. And I realized that this is such a huge event that it can only be good.
Yeah.
Because there's so much good in it that it can't get bad.
I love that.
Right? So I really want to thank at that situation really the scientific committee, 40 people engaged.
Yeah.
Everything else, you, Azuzena, people who make this conference a really unique experience. And this is just wonderful. So thank you as well.
Oh gosh, such a privilege. It's a privilege to be here. So Sebastian, thank you for joining us, talking about all the research that we presented, the clinical work, the practical work, and the lovely action day on Saturday as well. So look, I encourage everyone to take a look at all of those events. Please do so. It sounds absolutely amazing. Let's all go home with some new ideas. But for now, thank you once again, and we'll talk to you all again really soon. Bye.